Welcome to the Hard Stick Silver podcast. I'm Nukie. On the line, I've got Praww today. How are you feeling about this weekend going to Major 1 of 2024?
Man, this has been a crazy qualifier so far, I feel like. A lot of teams have looked not good, especially if you wear green. I'm going to be honest, man. Optic, they're looking down bad right now, man. They are looking rough. And I think that's honestly one of the biggest shocks of the season so far is just how poor Optic has looked, at least through the qualifiers, especially since coming back from break. But I definitely think we'll get into that. Honestly, I'm just excited for LAN COD. I feel like there's a lot of teams that underperform online, whether it be server cheese or whatever. But man, I'm just really hyped to get ready for this. We got today we start in an hour, I think. So the first matchup I want to look at is the FaZe boys going up against the Gorillas. Honestly, I feel bad that LAG got put with FaZe round one because I think honestly any other matchup, I think I'm taking LAG right now. I think they're gonna look really good on LAN, but FaZe is just different right now. They're just, I don't know if they're like. I'm gonna be honest. I think they could outshoot the Optic Dynasty right now.
Yeah, FaZe has done a phenomenal job so far, just kind of sweeping the board, particularly in the match against Optic, week 4. It was brutal.
I'm gonna be honest. They pissed on them. they got pissed on. They made them look like they're fucking hard stuck silver players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, their match against the Royal Ravens felt like it was kind of getting a little closer, but I feel like no one can really stop them.
Bro, no one can. Everyone can stop Carolina too. But I think honestly, the thing with FaZe too, it's not that they're beating teams. It's not that they went 7-0. It's that they went through the quals with a 21-5 map count. They're averaging a 3-0.
Yeah, they're
averaging you getting pissed on. That's literally what we're talking about against professional players and not Warzone pros. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they 3-0'd LAT in week 1. They did the same almost with Surge week 2. Going into week 3, they did it again with Vegas Legion. In week 4, they did it again with Optic.
They just pissed on them. They just piss on people.
They've been such a consistent.
It's just what they do. Player. It's honestly insane. And honestly, Atlanta FaZe is how everyone feels when they play ranked play in bronze.
It's me. Wow, I'm hard stuck silver.
Yeah, but I think honestly, I think FaZe here. I think 3-0. I could see Gorillas getting a hard point or maybe the control. I think also the scary thing about FaZe is how disciplined their search game is.
Yeah.
They don't fall for shit. They don't overextend. They just play very balanced, very disciplined COD, and I think that is what makes them scary. On top of the fact that they are gunning like crazy people right now.
I think that's been a year-to-year thing too. We haven't seen them really have faults in that search game. It's just been top quality game the whole time. So I gave Gorillas 2, particularly because of hardpoint and control. I think they've done pretty okay this season, and I think that's something they're.
Yeah, I don't think we can give Gorillas enough flowers because I think they're going to have a rough weekend, but they deserve a lot of credit because they are. I know, especially the rumors were that they were of the two, like during the Christmas break, FaZe and LAG were the only teams who didn't really take a day off. They pretty much played the entire time. And I think, honestly, that passion, that dedication to being good at your craft, I think that is something that needs to be commended.
Yeah. Yeah.
But moving on from them, did you want to finish on that?
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, I mean, when you see people like Atlanta FaZe sweep the board and then not take days off to still keep practicing, that's dedication you just don't get to see. In a lot of things right now,
especially with that kind of a roster that leaving from last year, you had 3 of the you had a phenomenal roster. You had an S tier roster, and somehow you got better.
Yeah,
that's the crazy part is you got better from being a top 3 team. So I think they're going to be all year. They're going to be a team that as long as they're on the same page and working together as a team, they're going to be every Sunday. You're going to be seeing them every Sunday. And I think that's good for the esport too, especially if them and Optic. I think just that FaZe Optic rivalry, if we can get that going again, I think that's going to be huge for the sport.
Yeah, I mean, even like a FaZe LAT rivalry would be, I mean, I would argue explosive just because of, I mean, the names behind the brands, you know?
Exactly. I
I
think
I think the Optic rivalry, of course, is just so iconic. It's,
yeah.
20 plus years of rivalry at this point. But I don't know. Part of me still has a home at heart for LAT.
I think you're gonna need to find a new home because man, they're whoo. We'll get to them though. But I got some me and Matt Haig got to have a conversation. You know what I mean? But moving on. Speaking of Optic, they're the next match I want to look at here. The Heretics, who I think are one of the biggest surprises this year. The way that and the thing with them too is like them being a everyone's a primary Spanish speaker. One, when the listen-ins happen, no one has a goddamn clue what they're saying, but those four dudes are all on the exact same page. They all know what's going on. And I think that's what makes them also a really good team to play.
Yeah, their communication is also super fast,
Yeah.
which is something I think we can really give to, their
Yeah.
their language. It is just it's rapid, it's fast, and they're such good communicators too.
Yeah.
When those listen-ins happen, I literally like you said, no idea what's going on, but you can just tell. I mean, I wish I could call out that fast.
Yeah, right. My thing with Optic too, why I think Heretics, I'm definitely giving the edge in this series. I think they take it in like a 3-0, 3-1. The one thing I've noticed with Optic, and I know other people like Zuma have said this too, is that Optic starts off really well, but once like breaks, especially on like a respawn in a hard point mode, once those breaks start happening, which are going to happen with this game a lot,
Yeah.
once they start happening, they fall apart. They don't play balanced COD. They start hero CODing it, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah, I went ahead and gave them a 3-1, giving it to Heretics. One, I kind of was giving it up to either potentially locking down controller search, though the Heretics have been another team that's just been fantastic so far.
Yeah, I think
Here in
Miami.
qualifiers.
I'm very excited to see them on LAN. I think that's going to be a big test.
I'm super excited to see them against FaZe on LAN,
That's going to be
because
fun. That's
that
going to be a
that
fun. That
matchup
could
is
be a
going to
really
be
good matchup. I think that's either going to be a phenomenal or terrible. Because the other thing with
yeah.
Miami, which we'll get to when we talk about the winners round two, is they suck against good teams. Like I'm just going to call it a buck here. Like they do really well against the bad. They're like one of those teams that like they're great at pubs. They're like that guy in COD who like can just like I don't know like quick shoot like quick snipe everyone. You know.
Oh yeah,
You know, I hate those people. They're the fucking worst. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like
They
why are
just
you
feel like
pulling
the
out a
ultimate
sniper?
like pub stompers. Like I feel like against like bad teams they do very poorly, but then whenever they play like a good team, they kind of like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just they were having a bad day or something, but like I don't know what it is. Like they've like I don't know. I love watching them though. They're a lot of fun to watch. So hopefully we get to see a lot of them this weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to.
Yeah, for sure. We got two more round one matchups to look at. Next one is Toronto Ultra Seattle Surge. Man, I think this is for someone who has not always been a huge fan of Scrap. I got a feeling that dude's gonna have the fucking Kobe in him this weekend. I think he is like, especially like I think he's to me he's been very open and honest about champs. When he's even said it himself, he got pissed on. He got shit on by the subliners after talking shit. So I think he's gonna come out and he's gonna want to 40 bomb every goddamn map.
Yeah, I mean he's work. I'm honestly really looking forward to, because I mean our cities has been pretty decent this year. I say this year, it's
Yeah,
literally weeks
Alex
in.
last year. I think even Alec has said like last year. I think he kind of explained it in a really good way. He said last year he tried to like prove that he can play with anybody, and it obviously backfired horribly.
Yeah.
So I think this year he went into it and he said that he just wanted to play with people who he knew he could succeed with, and obviously I believe he teamed with Hook.
Yeah.
Back on the Dallas Empire. I think that was an MW19. What's the team? Weren't they? I think they were both on the roster that won champs.
I
believe it was those two, Crim Clay and Shotzi. I think.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
But I think that roster, that Seattle looks really good.
Yeah,
I
they've
think
got
that
a good team put together.
you've got 3 really good players. Or no, it wasn't Hook. It was Illy. It was Illy because they were, yeah. It was Illy because then they moved to Optic after the Optic Envy merger. That's what it was. I think Seattle's just got the edge in this series, but I think it's going to be a good series.
I gave the edge round 1 to Toronto. I really like the way that Kleenex and Scrappy have been playing.
Yeah.
Particularly week 4 was just great game.
Yeah.
Not that Arcides and Hook and Illy were down bad at all so far in week 4, but I gave the edge to Toronto because I see Kleenex and Scrappy cleaning up.
Yeah, I think Scrappy's going to eat this weekend, especially just with this game being a very AR dominant game. I think if you have a like takeover AR like Scrappy, I think you can just run tables on people in a really fun way.
Yeah, I think they've got a good advantage going in. Scrappy's been a phenomenal player, especially week 4.
Yeah. All right, last matchup I want to look at here: the world champion, your 2023 Call of Duty League world champions, 3 of the 4 at least. Subliners going up against the Rocker. I'm gonna say it: the Rocker are frauds. I don't think they're. I think they're. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. They're frauds.
I mean, the teams they have beat over the past couple weeks, they did a pretty good job against LAG and against Surge last week. I mean, they went 3-2 against Surge, which was a close match, but you had the 3-0 on LAG, which was nothing in terms of work.
So the only reason I say they're frauds is because they've beat Vegas. They got 3-1 by Optic. They got 3-1 by Miami. They got 3-1 by New York. The only like good wins they've had are Seattle. Which cool. Yeah, decent win, 3-2. You got it there for sure. But then your other 2 are 3-0ing the Gorillas and the Ravens. And this was when the Gorillas sucked too.
Fair. Yeah, I mean that win.
Oh no, that was last weekend. I'm wrong. So like I don't know. I just remember some of their players don't do well on LAN. That's all I'm saying. And I think in an already questionable matchup against the subliners, so I think most people have them winning. I think that's just they're gonna have a rough day.
Yeah, I think that they might get a control, but I think the subliners are really gonna take it home, which is, I mean, again, another great 2-team matchup in that second round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the only result we have where Rocker have played the subliners, and some of these were rough. I'm gonna be honest. You got 3-0 to the control. The hard points were actually fairly close. Round 1 it was 250-188, and then round 4 or game 4, excuse me, was 250-203. So not terrible, but like the control, they just got pissed on. So I don't know. I don't know how. I don't see Minnesota being able to pull this one out. But that does bring us to a full slate of losers matches where we will see the other 4 teams in the league at least get a chance to make a run here. First one I'd love to talk about is your team, and honestly, my favorite team as well. I got a soft spot for the Los Angeles Thieves, but I'm gonna be honest, they're dog shit. Like their hard point, I could play better hard point, and I don't play COD. You could get, they're like, I swear, people who think like Warzone pros are better than CDL pros, they just watch LAT hard points.
Yeah. I can't
it's rough. It's rough. And it sucks because their search looks so good. I think their search is actually I think it's like not like a top 4 search, but definitely top 6. Like I think they're a pretty good search team. And that's the only way they're ever able to win matches, to be honest.
So I gave LAT over LAG for round 1. Not gonna lie, partially because of bias, but also I genuinely think they have, if if they can pull through on two rounds ahead of that search, I think they stand a chance. That
I
being
just
said, of
think,
course, I don't know that they can really pull it in hardpoint.
yeah, like
Um,
it's really
their
tough.
control games have been tough.
Yeah, I think it's just really difficult to look at this and say, okay, the LA Thieves, all they have to do to be successful this event is to never lose a game mode, not called hardpoint. They also got 3-0'd by the Gorillas in the quals. So I think that's worth saying.
Yeah.
In actually an ultra rare moment where the hardpoint went to time, which I totally forgot about. And they also got 3-0'd in that control. So that's good. That looks good for them then. I think 3-1. I think LAT gets the search in this one. I think they're going home, and I think they're blowing. I think someone's getting replaced. I just don't think you can. I feel like a major one, it's still early enough to where you can make a change and like still have a very successful season. So I hope they do, because I think there is a lot of talent in challengers, especially just with old pros, like not old pros, but pros who have been in the league before.
Yeah.
I think a great shout for this team would be Asum. I think Asum does not get nearly enough praise. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the CDL. He's also a very selfless player. And they also are getting out killed in a fucking absurd way. Like, I think they're average. Like, I don't believe they have anyone with a positive KD. I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it's a game where you kill people. That's kind of the deal here.
It's
like,
us every time we hit gold.
Literally,
Right,
it's just like they're just getting outgunning. They're just like every game mode. They're winning because they're either just outmaneuvering the other opponent, not because they're out shooting the other opponent. And I think against the bad teams, you can do that. And you can have fairly good success. And if you want to get top sixes the whole year, hey man, Godspeed. But if you want to have actually good events, then you gotta figure it out. Yeah, so hopefully they're able to bring in someone who's kind of a gunny, get this team back on the right track. But for this event, LAG wins the Battle of Los Angeles for me.
They should and probably deserve it, but I'm still giving it to the Thieves.
Oh my god, you're just on. You're smoking. You're off.
Listen,
you're off your rocker right now.
I committed this whole bracket before we even got in here. So
speaking about off your rocker, all right, the Minnesota Rocker are going to play the Carolina Royal Ravens, which I think this is kind of a weird matchup too, because Carolina just made a big change. Obviously, with GodRx retiring after being cut, they brought in TJ Haley to take his spot. So I don't know how I feel about this squad. Like it's hard to talk about their like past matchups when we don't really know their past matchups, and they also took FaZe to Game 5.
Yeah, we've seen some good gameplay. I mean, Accuracy's had a pretty good year so far. He's been playing pretty well. Looking
I think
to the Ravens. I mean, we still have.
I think honestly, Accuracy, who like for the past couple of years I know was on the surge with like Pred and Sib, I think he was kind of pigeonholed into the hill bitch mode, which like is also a great way to make a living.
Yeah,
like I think that's a very unsung role in the CDL and just COD in general.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're putting points on the board, I think that's the most important thing going into a lot of
and he's kind of been unlocked. I feel a little bit. He's been kind of given that green light in a way that I think he needs.
Yeah, I mean, not being able to put more focus on getting to the objective is, I mean, like you said, very unsung role because it's beyond valuable.
I think Minnesota could take this one, but I'm going to have to give it to Carolina. I think Old Man Clay, he's pissed. Which I don't know if you saw what kind of happened after the LAT series on Sunday.
I did miss it.
Okay, so no, that's fine because it's kind of like some drama, which like is more my thing. I love COD drama.
I know you're obsessed.
So there is Clay has a tattoo on his forearm that is dedicated to his I believe it's his sister, who passed. I believe she had cancer. So very serious thing. And the LAT socials guy who like I believe it's Josh CHX, who runs their socials. Really good dude. Had a kind of a, I genuinely don't think he knew what the tattoo was about. So he photoshopped the tattoo and put an L in the middle.
No.
Yeah, and Clay blew up on it, which
rightfully so.
Yeah, I would have too.
Yeah.
I would have literally drove into Los Angeles and like banged on the facility doors trying to fight this guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. But
they did delete it, and they kind of just like jokingly apologize kind of thing. So I think it's just I think this is Clay's swan song year. I think he's just gonna retire after this year and either go do content or do something else with his time. Which I think he's a good player. I think he's got really high IQ for the game. But I think Carolina in this one.
I think that's a fair take. Wasn't aware of that, and I agree. That would definitely change the way that I would probably throw this.
Yeah.
I probably would typically. I of course already committed, so I'm committed to Rocker on this. It would be cool to see some players like Clayster move into the coaching era.
I could see him doing that. I mean, that's what a lot of people from his era have done. I don't know because he doesn't really make content. So that's why I just don't think he would want to do the content thing.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really do it.
Yeah, and it's not like you can't get a paycheck doing coaching. I mean,
yeah, and I think
whether you're coaching high level teams like the LA Thieves or the Ravens. I mean, you could step down to challengers or even out to just some of the more not CDL direct teams and still help bring some players into the light.
Yeah.
And I think Clayster's one of the few guys left that can still really do that.
Yeah. Next matchup, let's look at Optic Texas trying to make a losers bracket run against honestly the best team in the universe, the Vegas Legion. I mean, I can't think of anyone who would take them to win a single fucking map in their lives.
So I'm gonna be honest.
Honestly, man, this team.
Go for it. I put 3-1 for Vegas Legion.
No, I'm Greenwall. Go get his ass at Nukie TV on every goddamn platform. Go get him out. Get him. He's gotta go.
So he's gotta go. Here's my reason. Right. Optic is probably going to get stomped in winners round 1. They're going to get pushed to elimination round 1 and have just the worst game they've had because it's just going to be a shit show. That's my view of how this goes. I'm going to be honest. I don't think that any reasonable person should put Legion as
Legion lost to Carolina.
Yes.
Okay. Old Carolina. Bad. They lost to the worst Carolina.
I mean, Legion has not done great. I'll be honest.
That is an accurate assessment because they are the lowest seed in the tournament.
However, this is the reason why we saw week 3 Legion almost pulled through, and I mean they lost to Optic 3-2, but they almost pulled through. They were so close. I mean it's been close. They've only actually won once in a matchup against Optic in 2 years, but we'll. I forgot that they have not won against Optic in 2 years. Before I committed to this bracket,
we're putting Optic in there. I'm taking over. It's over. Nah, fuck Legion. They're getting 3-0. They're getting barnstormed. They're blowing it up. Purge is gonna have a 0.4 KD on land.
Yeah.
I do think so. Like in all seriousness, I think Legion. I think they're gonna get stomped. I think Optic is just going to play better. I mean, Optic is...
You've still got great players on Optic, despite what this season has looked like.
Yeah, I think Optic is going to play... I think especially this tournament, they're going to do very well against bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then the opposite against good teams.
Yeah.
I think that's just really where it's going to be for them. I think it's a 3-0. I think they just get rolled. Purge, unfortunately, I really hate when like rookies just aren't able to succeed. And honestly... They're an org that doesn't give a shit. I'm going to be honest. They're one of those orgs that does not actually care about their people. There's so much stuff on the internet you can go find from, especially from Donnie Temp, where they just don't care. Everyone's getting league minimums. There's they're all playing from their houses. Like, They
Man,
probably get like a
that's such a
Greyhound.
painful environment to have to be
I feel like
into
that org probably
for
tells
games.
everyone their family and then lays them all off.
Oh, man, that sounds about right. I mean,
It sucks. I feel bad for like players who are kind of stuck in that. And I think that's honestly why Temp is like, he'd rather not make money and play challengers than play for like Legion org.
that's fair.
Which sucks. I really wish we had orgs in the league who actually gave a shit about the league and like not even gave a shit, but just wanted to actually be successful.
That's kind of, I think, one of the reasons why I will call myself a fanboy for LAT is, I mean, they've invested so much in the players. I don't know if you have watched the videos of like what they're fed at at I forget what they call it now off the top of my head, but they're the private chef who comes in and makes their food. Um, Gourmet. I mean, I don't even like seafood, and I'm jealous half the time seeing the seafood on the table. Like,
listen, I haven't eaten yet, so I'm just gonna say Optic's gonna smash them and move on. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not even an Optic guy. I'm not even like I know like I feel like 90% of the COD fan base is just Optic fans.
yeah,
It's like 80% Optic, 5% LAT, 15% FaZe, and there's like the 0.0001 everyone else.
yeah. Speaking of everyone else, our final round one matchup is Seattle and Breach.
This is going to be such a tough match to call because
I
I don't know who's gonna show up.
I loved Breach last year. It was great. I saw some great gameplay. We saw Priesta do God's work for the team. Uh, but in all seriousness, I think Seattle has an edge going into that matchup. Um, they've they've been consistent through the year so far, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a couple of weird losses. I didn't anticipate them losing to Rocker in week 4. I mean, Rocker's not a bad team by any means, but I thought we would see Seattle win. Seattle took it home against the Heretics. And overall, they've had a pretty good season so far.
I think I'm taking Breach in this matchup.
Taking Breach?
For a couple of reasons. Breach, especially after the winter break, have not played. They played very good COD.
Okay.
It's just unfortunate some of the results have not been there for them. Like I think
they
got 3-2'd by Subliners.
Yeah, they're
which also Subliners phenomenal team.
Going into major.
They beat Miami, so I think that's a feather in their cap. They got 3-1 by Gorillas, but Gorillas have also looked very good, and they also 3-0'd Toronto.
Yep.
So I think just for that, I'm taking Breach. I think 3-2. Also, I believe Seattle is not going to have anyone to warm them up because they obviously have been accused and they've been like, I think like 90% of the GAs that have been broken so far this year. So I believe they're still in the no warm-ups penalty phase, which is going to be rough
really
on lane.
Bad. Yeah, especially going into major on that penalty.
And I could see a top team behind the scenes wanting to warm up their opponents extra hard.
Especially a team like Breach, who arguably is in quotes they're a lower seed. It's where they're at, unfortunately. I think that's a good take. I, of course, wasn't aware of the penalty on Seattle, so I had put Seattle as a lead on there. I think that's really going to hamper them going into that.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
I think 3-2 though. I think it will be a really good match. Especially Snoopy, the quote unquote rookie for Boston. He's a great Surge player. So I think if they can kind of like chill him out a little bit, because I feel like he just plays like he just did a line of coke. Like he just plays very fast. He plays way too fast. And I think especially on LAN, if they can kind of slow that down and kind of get him in like a good like space of like his pace of play, I think that kid could be. I think sky's the limit for him. I think he's got a really good gunny. He's got a good game sense. It's just getting that pacing closer, and I think he's around the right people to do that. So I think we're both in agreement. Breach are taking this one. Seattle goes home early to go snake on pubs or something. I don't know. No, I honestly I don't know. I don't have any patience for GA breaking.
Yeah, they're gonna go pull the SVA out and
oh my god,
shoot at a wall for 2 hours.
They're gonna pull out the LMGs and just start shooting.
They're gonna go into ranked and hit top 250 by just running an SVA build.
All right, and then in the losers round 2, the first one, which actually will happen Friday, after the 4 losers rounds. I believe we both had LAG and Optic winning their matchups.
I mean, I'm a monster and already committed LAT before we discuss this.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it matters who plays Optic. I think honestly, if we're just like, I think they 3-0 LAT. I think they're just better.
Yeah.
I think against LAG, I think that could be a really good matchup.
Yeah.
But I would take Optic 3-2.
Interesting. So personally, I think I would go LAG on that. I mean, some of the history that we've seen between the two teams has kind of pointed me in that direction a little bit. LAG has done better against better teams, like Breach.
That's true. I just think
we saw the 3-1 in week 3 was a beautiful, work of art on LAG's side of things. I mean, they're both going into major roughly at the same place, but it's going to be a tight match either way. It could really go either way. But something about Optic, man.
I think Optic wins this one. I take Optic.
I think it's a fair take. I commit myself,
especially
to
if they're playing. If you're full sending LAT, they're gonna get 250 to 0.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well,
they'll just never touch it, and they'll just be afraid of the hard point.
So my personal bracket, I have LAT and Legion in round 2. Partially for shits and giggles, but also
Legion. Oh my! I just can't. You're not a serious person if you think Legion are beating anyone. Just be honest.
Okay, historically, not great. Historically, awful.
Recently, not great. In the past, not great. In the present, not great. In the future, not great.
They're going into this knowing that they were 1
You know what? Fuck it. Legion's going home. They're going to lose pub matches to dudes on 70 inches. Hey, man, you can't that gunny, brother. Yeah.
Even in this matchup on my bracket, I had 3-0 LAT.
Bro, LA Parrot, listen, Legion are going to lose. The dudes using Oculus controllers. They're going to be like, I'm going to get him.
That's funny.
No, I think Optic takes that. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I think Optic's the better team, which sets them up for a hell of a round 3.
They ain't going to make it out of round 3. They ain't going to Sunday. There's no way.
Oh, no.
There's just no way. No. Again, they're good against bad teams. They're bad against good teams.
Yeah.
But in our other matchup, I think we both had Breach over Seattle.
I put Seattle over Breach.
Who'd you have in the Rocker, Carolina?
I put Rocker. I like the way they were playing. They've done a pretty good job.
I think of those 4 teams, I think the best team is probably Seattle. At least on paper. Yeah. Plus they get extra GAs, so
yeah, I mean, re-looking at this matchup, I should really talk to you about these before so that I can know who fucks up when. But looking at this, the breach matchup makes sense going Breach. Not having a warm up going into that, I mean, you're talking about a couple hours difference between. Let's see.
This matchup would be the first matchup on Saturday. So it would be the next day. It wouldn't be the same day as their first match.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about. I actually think having that day, I think Seattle has an opportunity to pull through, but committing to the breach side of things. On
my bracket, it's Breach Ravens, and I think
Breach Ravens
just smoke them.
Yeah,
I think Slasher's gonna roll them. Especially, I just got a feeling like at that home venue, if anything, they're just going to want to show out for the org to keep their jobs.
Yeah, if it was
at the very least,
if it was Breach Rocker, I think that you'd see accuracy pulling his weight.
Yeah, I think if it's Rocker, I think I would take Rocker over Breach.
Yeah, I think that's I would argue a fair matchup. Not that any of those teams are making it out of round 3 though.
No, I think it's, yeah.
just to be honest,
I think whoever gets sent, I think whoever makes it from losers 2 to losers 3, I think their tickets are already booked. They're already in. They're already at the gate.
With our existing matchups, I mean, it's either going to be
given that top 4.
Ultra,
I think they're just so.
Heretics.
I think they're especially in COD this year. I feel like especially with like the talent gap, there is a very definitive top 4 to tops, like the 4th and 5th place teams. I think there's a right now, especially. I think there's a very sizable gap. But that does bring us to later on Saturday afternoon. We're gonna have winners round 2. We had a FaZe and Heretics. FaZe 400-0.
I think that there's a chance that we see the match go 3-2.
I think there's a chance. Yeah, if FaZe doesn't show up for 2 of those matches, they got a shot.
No,
I think honestly,
I think Heretics are a team that like could put the work in. I mean, going out of that match with Optic and not having to play until Saturday, that's a lot of time to set aside to just like focus on it with the boys, you know?
Yeah, I think that Miami's a great team right now. I think they're outplaying I think they're playing above their ceiling right now. But I think so is FaZe. And their ceiling's much taller. So I think right now FaZe is honestly, I think they could go not losing a map until grand finals.
I think that's a really fair take. I put 3-2 because I think Miami with the amount of time they have might be able to show up for a round or 2. But
I think it just depends.
It's FaZe
how much Miami's hitting. Like if Miami's gunny is just straighter than an arrow,
yeah,
there's a chance they can do some really cool shit there. But I just don't see it happening. I got FaZe 3-0.
I think it's a fair take. And that actually rolls us into winners round 2.
This one is a really fucking interesting dynamic.
So
you got Worlds. You got Champs Grand Finals matchup again. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's the last time we're seeing it this weekend.
No, I think there's going to be a lot of really good games this weekend. Like,
this is, I think, honestly,
this might be
our first S tier matchup of the weekend.
Yeah,
and when I say S tier, I mean like a match that I fully expect. Game 5, round 11 Surge. Like, just this is the kind of shit that's going to be like used in promos 6 months from now at Champs. I think Scrap's going to have a great series, but I think New York takes it.
I also committed New York. I think that Ultras had a great qualifier, but I mean, Hydra and Kismet have been phenomenal players now for
sure
2 straight years, basically. Yeah. And they are not at the bottom of their game. I'll tell you that. Looking at Hydra's how they were playing so
and
far.
It's actually kind of crazy how good Hydra's been since he came in the league. Like, dude has just been godlike.
He's an explosive player.
Up the sticks. Yeah, like it's just wild. It's just crazy.
Arguably, if we want to talk about like players who make teams, I'd almost say like Shotzzy and Hydra have just a chokehold on their placements on teams.
I would say Simp or a Beezy over Shotzzy right now. That's just fair. Because Shotzzy he hasn't really won a major in a couple years. Like, he hasn't won, like, you got to remember the last time Shotzzy won an event, Scump was competing.
Oh God, yeah, that has been a while.
Like, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
I always think of how like valuable of a player Shotzzy is.
He is a phenomenal player. Like, don't get me twisted, but like he's got to, you got to show up on LAN, and I don't think it's this weekend. I think they're a great team. I think once they kind of get on page and get in sync, they're going to be a phenomenal team to play against. but I think this
Yeah.
weekend just ain't it.
No. No.
Which does bring us to our losers round 3. Toronto Ultra
And Optic.
and Optic Texas.
What a tough matchup.
Yeah, I think Toronto definitely will struggle.
I'm gonna be honest. Any team in that elimination bracket, round 1, was not getting past Toronto Ultra, except for maybe
Vegas Legion, obviously.
Maybe Heretics when they get pushed out.
So this one I had Optic and Ultra 3-0. I think especially Ultra after getting beat by Toronto or by New York, excuse me, I think they're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
I think Scrap is going to want to he's going to be chirping the whole fucking series.
The only thing that I think Optic has conveniently is they have more time to go into that match. And kind of prepare for that matchup in comparison to what Toronto.
But that's weird though too, because you don't know because in theory it's going to be 3 hours after Optic or Toronto and New York.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who's coming out of that.
That's true. I mean, you got
so you like I think if you're the coaching staff, you're prepared for both. Mm-hmm. Like not with the players, but like with the coaches, you know the game plan versus both of those, and then once you know who it is, it's putting in that game plan.
Yeah, from there, it's literally just.
I just think Toronto's just better.
Plug and play.
I think Toronto is just shooting better right now, and they're playing better. They're playing as a team. They're playing great COD.
Yeah.
I think the top 3. I think that Atlanta, New York, Toronto is just head and shoulders above the rest right now.
Oh, 100%.
Especially for this event. Which does bring us to the other side of the losers bracket. Miami's going to go down, and they're going to play. Who do we have going through?
We have. Did you say Breach or Ravens would win?
Oh, Breach.
Breach. Yeah. Then it's a Miami. It's a Miami Boston game, and it's
a Miami 3-0.
You put them. You're going to say a 3-0? Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Actually.
Miami plays good against bad teams.
They do, and
not to say Boston's a bad team, but just they play very well against the not top 4.
Yeah,
I could see 3-1, but I think Miami's just they're gonna get the Sunday. I just don't see them not getting the Sunday, which sets up a very interesting Sunday.
Yeah.
So our teams are gonna be Toronto, Miami, New York, and FaZe.
Mm-hmm.
So our top 4 seeds, but still a very good Sunday. Going into that Sunday, who's your favorite who's not Atlanta FaZe?
So this was a tougher one because I as much as I'm also an LAT fan, love the subliners. So hearing them go out is the most heartbreaking thing for me. But I mean, it's a tough one. I'll be very honest with you. I don't think the subliners make it to the end of Sunday in any capacity. Okay. And the reason why is I think that I mean the Toronto Miami game is going to be sick. It's going to be a cool game. Going to be great COD.
I think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's 3-1.
I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than that.
I hope it is. I just don't. I think Toronto is going to be ready. I think they're going to be fucking pissed.
They're
fired up. And Scrap is going to bring a goddamn megaphone to chirp. He's going to run out in the crowd and just start yelling at people. He's just going to find strangers and start yelling at them how bad they are at COD. And he's going to find people with Toronto Ultra gear on and just be like, you're fucking dog shit.
I want to see Miami move on. I think they're a good team. I think
a top 4 though for this Miami squad is a hell of a weekend.
That's fair. I think so too.
I think for a new team that no one thought would be a top 4 team. To be top 4 at the first event, I think is a very good thing for them.
I think so too. Yeah, my thing is I don't want to necessarily say Toronto. I'm trying to think through here. Because obviously New York is not beating FaZe. Let's be real.
What do you mean they're the world champs?
I think FaZe blows them out of the water.
Well, first matchup though, Toronto Miami.
It's such a tough decision.
Before we get to winners finals, we gotta see who the loser of winners finals is playing.
I know.
I just think it's Toronto. I think Toronto's just better.
I think they're a better team. I do. I want to see Miami move forward, but I think Toronto's the better team, and they're also.
I think Miami is quickly going to become a fan favorite org.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily org, but just team, especially just the way they play.
Yeah,
I think it's very entertaining. COD too.
Incredible. Also, like the way that they move just blows my mind out of the water, and I've tried to adapt their play styles a little bit for while I'm playing. It turns out I can't do that. I'm not good at it.
Have you tried speaking Spanish at a light speed? Maybe that's the trick.
No, can't even pretend that I could. Yeah, I think Toronto takes it home, and then we get this obnoxious subliner. Well, in my opinion,
yo, Scrap is gonna just jump on stage and just start chirping at the casters. Even I just believe Scrap is just gonna start just yelling at everyone. He's gonna literally look. Like, you remember Hades from, like, the Disney Hercules movies when he gets mad, like, his hair blows up? That's him. That's going to be him all of Sunday. The entire day.
Beautiful.
Well, moving on. So we both got Toronto winning that first match on Sunday, making it to the losers finals. Mm-hmm. Making a really impressive run, though. No matter how this ends up for any of these top 4 teams, a very impressive Sunday. Very good, but that does bring us to winners finals. FaZe Subliners, another phenomenal match. But I got FaZe 3-1.
I also have FaZe 3-1. Right now, they're just ahead above Subliners and or a whole arm as far as I'm concerned.
They're ahead above the whole league right now.
They are stomping people in majors right now.
I think this is a 3-0, but I could very much see it being a 3-2. Like, I think every game will be close.
Yeah.
But right now, FaZe is just able to get every game. Like
I think if the Subliners can get their shit together going into this matchup, I think it's a 3-2 FaZe.
I could see, I think Subliners. I think it's going to be a really fun match. I don't even know how to even call this. I've just seen FaZe destroy too many people to not take them at this point.
Yeah, I'm by no means a FaZe fanboy, but I like,
and neither am I. I'm not a huge FaZe fan, but they're just blowing people up.
It's who they are this year, man. It's really who they are.
They're just them. Like, you think, and it's really weird. They only lose games to bad teams.
Yeah, and
like of their 5
not bad.
losses, of the 5 losses they've had, and it's been to Breach, Carolina, and Seattle.
Yeah, what a weird.
And I think their only matchup against these top 4 teams, I believe they've only played Optic or not Optic or Optic of the top 4 preseason. I'm just trying to pull their record up really quick. They 3-0'd Optic, 3-2 Ravens.
Yeah, FaZe has not lost in the qualifiers.
3-0 Legion, 3-0 Gorillas, 3-1 Surge, 3-0 Thieves, and then 3-2 Breach. So they also haven't had a test yet.
I think
the only good team, the only quote unquote good team they beat is Optic, and they obviously they blew the shit out of them. But I just think FaZe right now is just playing I think they're playing phenomenal COD, and I think it continues through this weekend.
Yeah, I don't see an issue with them wiping the Subliners. I'll be very realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got great players on a great franchise team at this point. They're gonna take it home. They're gonna put themselves in grand.
I agree. Which will take us to the losers finals. Subliners Ultra, another rematch of Champs Grand Finals, and a rematch of winners round 2 In that matchup, I took Subliners 3-2. I'm gonna flip flop it and say Ultra 3-2, and Scrappy actually hacks into Kismet's PC and just puts your dog shit.
So we've seen this matchup already this season.
Yeah, we saw it 2 days ago.
I know. I'm having fun here, but we saw Subliners get curb stomped by Toronto Ultra in week 4. I mean, they were stomped out. They should have. By fan majority here, the Subliners should have won that game.
And they got pissed on in the hard
They did.
split. They got
it was
pissed
brutal.
on. Yeah, that was a Toronto Ultra masterclass. I just think I think on LAN it's way different.
Same.
Stakes are different, especially a losers finals. I think it's going to be a game 5 round 11. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game of COD to watch, but I think Ultra make it to the grand finals.
So from a personal perspective, not even my fanboy love of the Subliners, I think that the Subliners take it home, winners round 2, and in the elimination finals to put themselves in grand. And then we
think New York again.
I think we get to see New York try to step it up against FaZe.
All right. So we'll look at this from both matchups then. So first we got FaZe. I have them against Ultra. I have it going 7 rounds, 4-3 FaZe. I think it's gonna be a phenomenal match of COD. Really, either way you look at it, whether it's Ultra or New York. I just think Toronto, man, they're shooting great and they're playing phenomenally, and I think they will be. I think they're going to be in every Sunday this season, the same as FaZe and probably the same as Subliners. But right now, I think FaZe is just shooting better than anyone, and especially with Toronto.
Yeah,
FaZe is them.
Looking at the potential matchups here, I think that if it's anyone other than Subliners and Ultra, FaZe is going to wipe the board. I think going into that final, I think whether it's Subliners or Toronto, we see a 4-3 for FaZe. They're obviously kind of a league above in their own right now. And arguably so are the Subliners in Toronto against almost everyone else.
Right.
So it's no one has as good of seeding as those 3 teams right now. They're all in great positions. I genuinely think it's a 4-3-4 FaZe no matter who goes into the finals.
Yeah. I think we both have FaZe pretty much running the table this event. Just taking home that first chip, which is kudos to FaZe, kudos to I think it's gonna be a great run event. I remember last year, the Boston event was pretty well run from what I remember. And what a lot of the I know last year was way different with not only with it being on Twitch, but there was also a lot more watch parties at events, which I think was something really cool for the community.